The sorrow after Dorothea died was incredible. We have letters, I've read the letters that Mr. Van Dyck wrote, and it's very painful to read those.
Dorothea Van Dyck McLean was a Princeton resident who gave of her time and efforts to the Italian community of Princeton, even though she had no background or heritage that was Italian. She just saw a need and she wanted to help the Italian immigrants. She helped them to find jobs, to get settled in their homes, and was a caring, loving person.
You know, she died in childbirth.
At age 23, at the birth of her child, both she and the child died.
You know, there are values. It's important to keep those values available to other people, so other people would understand how noble people can be.
Her father and her husband, in her memory, wanted to continue the kinds of services that she provided to the Princeton Italian community, so they built and endowed this house in 1914.
We all are bring our experience, our expertise to help the house, to help the foundation. And so this is given, and somehow this reflects what was the idea of Dorothea herself.
Well, I'm hoping that we are fulfilling some of her dreams and her vision.
So we all really work hard. We work very well all together because we have this common denominator.
Well, I feel that we, you know, are living her dreams, so that we're part of her, or she's part of us.
Dorothea's House is a nonprofit organization that does community service work for the Princeton community and the greater Mercer County community.
It's been like a circle. I guess they used to have English classes here, and now we're giving Italian classes. People gather here for added knowledge, for friendships, for good food, and wine.
They had a very nice event about Marconi, you know. His daughter was speaking. Well, also there was a book written, and then she autographed them.
I think first age that I was here was 14. When I came up, it was mostly men. Okay, the women had their own nights or days to come here. They had shows, they had clubs, but the men were here every night and played pool or ping pong, listened to the radio, and just talk or whatever. So with the Marconi Lodge or the Sons of Italy, one of my friends who loved music, and he would come up here just to listen to the radio, and at 7 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, it was Martin Block who came on. He was a DJ, and he would just sit there and just in awe, you know, just listening to this beautiful music. It was just great to see that he was enjoying that part of this beautiful place, you know.
Or people here to do income tax for the Italian immigrants, fill out citizenship papers, anything that the Italian immigrants needed.
There were social clubs for children, for women. There were bands that were held so that people could play instruments.
We had a library filled with Italian books and newspapers. They had dances. There was a time when an immigrant could just come and get a meal and a shower.
Most of us had bathtubs in the house. Very few had showers of the people who lived here in my neighborhood. So we were just lucky to come up here and take showers. It was nice, it really was.
My father had started what they called the Roma Terna, and so he was very involved in that. Whenever they had anything, we would be up here.
Some sports teams, which you'll see a picture of in the front hallway, which I have several relatives in those pictures.
I was on this basketball team. We had a club, the Dorothea Athletic Club. It was with young boys, and I have a picture to show you when we won the championship of the basketball tournament. The counselors that we met from the university, the students, just wonderful. Yeah. Some of the football players, there was Dave Allardyce and Bob Peters. We knew all of these guys, and they made sure that we went in to see the football games. They'd stay out between the stadium and the fence and tell the students to let us in. Oh yeah, yeah, because we didn't have a dime. Yeah, we were poor kids. But they made sure we got in to see the games.
I do feel sometime I was born twice. Once in Italy, and once when I came here to complete my education.
Well, there are several areas from which the original immigrants came, but my parents came from a little town in Molise, which is called Petronello, which happens to be the sister city of Princeton right now.
You know, there was a sense of unity with the Dorothea house, especially with us, you know, second generation Italians from that town.
My father came home, he said, we're going up to the Dorothea house. They were hoping to meet somebody, you know, from Petronello, because that's where my mother and father came from. We walked in here, and my husband was there, standing there, and he comes over to me and talks to me in Italian. And my Italian wasn't too good, but we got along. I told my mother, I said, you know, this young man wants to write to me. And Mom said, oh, she says, you get yourself into more mess. I'll never forget. She said, now you're probably falling in love with an Italian prisoner of war. But then it was very hard for him to remain here. All prisoner of war had to return to their own country. And then I went over there, and we were married. We were married in the cathedral near his hometown, which was very nice, and that was it.
On October 5th, we're about to celebrate our 100th anniversary. The thing that's kept Dorothea's house going has just been the dedication and volunteer work of a number of people in this community that serve on this board for many, many, many years.
Eleanor Purvis was associated with Dorothea's house from the very early days and probably for decades afterwards. She served as an administrator for the house and coordinating the activities that took place in the house with the people who used the house.
And all the Italian people loved her. If they made things, they would bring them to her, made cookies or panettone, whatever they made, they would always make sure she got something.
My family was on relief because my father had died and my mother had no income. And my father had no insurance when he died, so we lost everything. We had a beautiful house, and Mrs. Purvis, who was a wonderful lady, took care of us. Yeah, she made sure my mother got some little compensation.
She was nice to everybody and made everyone, the Italian people, feel at home.
Obviously now is different because there are no immigrants and the house has been evolving.
The house was, you know, about ready to be sold. If it hadn't been for Alexandra, I think she instilled a new life into the house.
Alessandra Mazzucato was, as a photograph in our reception room says, the heart and soul of Dorothea's house, and that is no lie.
Alessandra was really the person who decided that we were going to embark on a cultural series program every month.
And they have been ongoing for about 25, 26 years.
She came up with new ideas that gave to the house a new perspective.
After she joined the board, we undertook a renovation of the space that would allow a physical support of our Sunday programs.
A whole gamut of music, art, readings, poets.
I came to Dorothea's house for the first time when Alessandra Mazzucato introduced me to it, and it was before the monthly program started. So I had no knowledge of this place, even though I had lived in town for a while. But after the first program, I started coming for every program and then became a member of the board about a year later.
She died, unfortunately, sort of unexpectedly, but she was a leader in the organization.
We had a memorial service here where people could gather and talk about her, and we filled the rooms with her quilts. She was a quilter, and we decorated the walls with all of her quilts, and people brought in food, and we had a service to talk about her. Her brainstorm to create those monthly programs really made Dorothea's house much more visible in the community, and it's used every day. In addition to those monthly programs, the Italian classes also have revitalized the house. So there is something going on almost every day during the academic year.
And in 1964, they decided to award a scholarship grant to a son and a daughter of Italian immigrant families. Myself and a girl who also grew up in this community named Diana Veneer were the first two recipients of the scholarship program.
The scholarships that have emanated forth from Dorothea's house have reached a lot of young people, and I think that's something that Dorothea would be particularly proud of.
A lot of our parents from that town, none of them even got past the 3rd grade. So the fact that, you know, the Dorothea House even gave us the opportunity to help fund us going to college, that's a huge thing.
About 20 years to the day after receiving the scholarship, I was contacted by a board member named Joe Bolster and said, okay, how about joining our board? The association occupies pretty much the entirety of the middle level.
Family Services, which is upstairs. Downstairs we have the Crisis Ministry, and also there's an office of GPYO, the Greater Princeton Youth Orchestra.
Well, Dorothea's house is so generous to us. They are giving us this wonderful office at no cost to us, and it's they really have been wonderful to us.
Some of the leading figures here in the Dorothea House Club organization have also had connections with the university.
Dorothea's house and the university have had many collaborations over the years, and partly thanks to Pietro Frasica, who's a member of our board. He has brought speakers to us from the university. We have also contributed to programs at the university that have been co-sponsored by Dorothea's house.
And the Dorothea's house gave me a different perspective of the town, of the people of the town. So I have met some wonderful people.
I feel I'm culturally more alive if I am occasionally here.
But my hope for the future is that all of this work, all of this interest in Italian culture that we see currently at Dorothea's house keeps on being perpetuated with a younger generation. I would love for more young people to come to Dorothea's house. And we do get college students from Princeton University and Rutgers sometimes, but I would love to see more families come in with their young children and participate in our programs so that we can have this as a beacon for people in the future.
We called it the club. And it was just a wonderful experience for us kids and a place to come.
I'm grateful to be a part of this house and the foundation, especially in promoting, like I said before, the Italian languages and the Italian culture. That's my heritage. So I'm grateful and proud of that.